Nourish: How to Heal Your Relationship with Food, Body, and Self. Introduction. Food is love, but don't eat too much. Why this mixed message hurts. When most of us were newborn infants, food was indeed love. We simply asked for what we needed. We cried. If our caregivers were tuned in, we got fed. You may have noticed that it's pretty hard to feed a baby, breast or bottle, without a comforting embrace. When the conditions are right, feeding and eating are truly one of the first times our needs are expressed and met as human beings. If you currently eat or withhold food to comfort yourself, you are not alone. You probably learned at a very young age that comfort and food are connected. In fact, food and love and caregiving are rather entwined. In its purest form, eating is a pleasure and feels good. If you are reading this book, perhaps you feel that your relationship with food and your body is a bit out of whack. When we stray with food, we often long to feel cared for, but don't have the skills to ask for what we want. We want to be like that little baby who simply cries when hungry and feeds at her mother's breast until she's had enough, drifting off to a sweet, satisfied sleep. As adults, we want and need to take breaks from our days to attend to our bodies, nourish them with food, and then return to our activities refreshed, fueled, and with new appreciation because we've paused to take time to care for ourselves. This kind of self-care is not an easy task when eating has become a mind-driven activity. And yes, the very health and nutrition fields of which I am a part are at least partly to blame for us straying from that natural way of eating. We ask our minds instead of our bodies what they need. What should I eat? What has the most nutrition, the least calories, the least carbs? If you've ever stood agonizing over a menu, not knowing what the right choice is, you are not alone. Part of the problem is that we have so many food choices and so much health and nutrition information, often contradictory. We tend to use our minds to make food choices and leave our bodies out of the decision. Doing so takes us away from our innate capacity to feed ourselves well. We were born with that ability, but the diet and health industry and all the other things in life pulling for our attention steer us away from listening to that inner wisdom. Before I struggled with my own eating, food was nourishing and tasty, and it felt good in my body. When I started to use food for other purposes as a teen, binge eating to numb feelings or restrictive eating with the hope of changing my developing body, I lost the sweet, innocent, open relationship that I had with food in my childhood years. I was a perfectionist and a dancer who did not want to have a stomach full of dinner before my evening ballet classes. When I came home tired and hungry late at night, I was ravenous and overate. Then I felt terribly guilty and ashamed of my behavior. I eventually studied college nutrition and psychology and began to understand how my mind and body were out of balance. I began to see that not knowing how to fuel my young, active body had led me to food restriction, bulimia, and binge eating.